It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire, the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by Anthony Witrado. Here, we got nothing to complain about tonight, Anthony. The Dodgers win their fourth in a row, 15-2. Bullpen game, schmolpen game. Matt Sauer, Jack Dreyer, the rest of the guys do the job. Kike Hernandez closing this one out. The offense comes alive. Ohtani hits a homer. Teo stays hot. Anthony, good vibes all the way around.
Oh man, it was a party out there. Yeah, position players pitching for both teams. It was a full-on raucous situation out there at Dodger Stadium tonight.
Yeah, and again, I know it's the Marlins. I know it was the Pirates. But given where we were, Anthony, last Friday, when you and I came on, to have won 4 straight since then, I don't care who it's against, Anthony. It's good for the team. I know everyone was concerned a week and a half or 2 weeks ago about the offense. They've now scored 1 million runs, it feels like, in the last 5 or 6 games. Things are starting to click a little bit. Yes, against bad teams, but these games count too.
Yeah, and the other teams in the division play bad teams as well.
Yeah.
If they lose to the bad teams, then it's they can't even beat them. So there's always going to be that part of it, I think. But you know what? You can play who's in front of you, and that's it. And so when they put those teams in front of them, they're taking care of business like they should. And so, I think there's something to be said about that too. And they're leaving little room for doubt as well. You talk about the Rockies, the Pirates tonight against the Marlins, doing what a superior team should do.
Yeah. And speaking of the division, by the way, first place,
not a big deal.
Giants lost their game back. Padres won, game and a half back. Dodgers are 20-10. Only the Mets have a better record in all of Major League Baseball than the Dodgers, second team to reach that 20-win mark. So, again, to your point, the wins count the same, the losses count the same, and you should feel good when you get to enjoy them. Fritz with the super chat. Fritz and your wiener dog, we appreciate the super chat. Moving forward, Yoshi 1, May 2, Kasperius 3, Gonsolin 4, Sauer 5, Knack 6 until Kirsch comes back on the 17th. Sauer looked great tonight. Fritz, we appreciate the super chat. Can we cool? I mean, I don't want to put any cold water on anything, Anthony, but Matt Sauer, I'm just going to say Matt Sauer we appreciate the effort. He shouldn't be 5th on this list. Let's put a little respect on Landon Knack's name, okay? He had one bad start this year and a bunch of good ones a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, a little recency bias, like from an hour ago or whatever. But look, it was an impressive outing. It was a lot more than I think they were expecting of him. I think they probably thought, look, if he can give us 2 innings, that's great. We'll take it. And he ends up throwing the bulk. So, that was a pretty pleasant surprise for a night that I think that they expected to use, maybe 6 bullpen arms or something like that. And he kept them from doing that along with Kike and the offense, of course. So, look, he did his job tonight. Who knows how long he is for the roster at this point, given some math and some guys coming back and yada, yada. But boy, that was impressive.
Yeah, he is the favorite, I would say, to be sent down tomorrow when Tony Gonsolin is activated. And shout out to Matt, by the way, because Matt's going to love all of the sweet and sour jokes being made in the chat. He told us to try and make one, and Anthony and I both said that was slightly beneath us. So kudos to you. You're entertaining Matt Moreno tonight. But yeah, I mean, look, Jack Dreyer, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Nice to see him just throw strikes after struggling to do so in his last time out. you could say the earned run was a little unlucky because Teoscar Hernandez overruns the ball in the corner, double becomes a triple, and then scores a couple batters later. But all in all, 2 innings, 1 earned, not going to kill you from Dreyer there. Sauer, though, the hero, 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 4 strikeouts. You get a 1 inning, 1 walk inning from Luis Garcia, and then Kike Hernandez, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and unfortunately for him, still no strikeouts. So good news for the Dodgers. To your point, Anthony, this was a game after Ben Kasperius, who typically is their long guy, got burned a couple of nights ago. For them to be able to get out of this game using just Dreyer, Sauer, again, who will likely be optioned back to Oklahoma City tomorrow, and Luis Garcia, who only had to throw 20 pitches. This is literally the perfect night for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers front office from a pitching perspective.
Yeah, huge. And then there's a day off coming later this week too. So it's a really good chance to sort of reset this bullpen and get everybody back to sort of level ground. This was a really unexpected surprise. Again, the offense is to thank for that, and then Sauer, with that sort of performance that I don't think anyone really expected. So they're in good shape, I would say, for sure, going into the weekend, and with Gonsolin going tomorrow. We'll see how long he can give them. I'm expecting, a pretty decent outing, actually. And so, maybe he saves that bullpen a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. Fritz, by the way, says, I didn't include Roki due to expensive arm on IL PTSD. So there you go. Roki Sasaki in the mix as well. Phil asking the question everybody's asking themselves. Jeff, how are you feeling about your Tommy Edman and Teoscar Hernandez predictions? The second one is more so a Michael Conforto prediction. It doesn't make it any better. But this is the moment, Anthony, where every time this comes up, I ask myself, do I lean into the bit or do I lean out of the bit? And if hypothetically, say, Anthony, one were to lean into the bit, would they maybe say that Max Muncy and Tommy Edman have the same on-base percentage this season? Would they say that type of thing out loud, or would they not say that out loud? Is Tommy Edman just 2025 Max Muncy with like 4 or 5 more home runs? He's got more than 4 or 5. But I mean, if hypothetically one were to lean into the bit, that might be what they say.
Yeah, that is probably what they lead with if they're leaning into it.
Yeah. If hypothetically, again, I'm not saying I would do such a thing, but if as for Conforto, he has a higher on base percentage than Tommy Edman. So we've got that going for us, Anthony. If Edman is as good as everybody says he is and Conforto's on base percentage is higher, I feel like this is good.
Yeah. I mean, Conforto's on the verge of being an all-star.
Yeah, that's some people are saying. It's not great. It's not great. So there you go. I predicted, for those that missed it, that Conforto would have a better season than Teoscar Hernandez. And Teoscar Hernandez is hitting 1,000,000%, I think, with runners in scoring position. He came up with runners in scoring position every single time today. That's a good combo for him. He goes 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs tonight. And so rough night for Jeff's predictions, but there you go. Jeff doesn't hate Tommy Edman. Enough with the nonsense. Okay. Ivan says, Page's revenge tour continues. I know it's 150 bats. At what point do you become concerned with Muncy? 3 true outcome guys, 0 home runs after his first month. This is people are here, Anthony, and they've been here for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
I joked on our last show that Ivan, your comment here begins with Page's revenge tour. And so maybe we take a lesson from Andy Pages, who everybody was ready to, send packing in his duffel bag down to Oklahoma City a couple of weeks ago, and say, maybe we just be patient here with Max Muncy. We're at 100 plate appearances. So if we're looking for, 50 more at bats for Max Muncy, maybe he's able to turn something around, but it does not look pretty at the plate. Even a position player comes in tonight and he grounds out to first base.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was just, I was imagining what the chat was going to be like. I'm going to say something that is sometimes a little bit unlike me. I think I am there with the real concern.
Okay.
I know we're probably 60-ish at bats away from kind of where you like to see a guy and start to make real judgments on him. But he looks bad. He really does. And there was starting there were some signs of life there. There still sort of is. Like he hasn't completely flatlined on us. Like he's having some good at bats. He's taking more walks. He's doing that kind of stuff. But the bat to ball stuff is concerning. And when he's making contact, it's not hard.
Well, so here, let me pause real quick, because this is where, and this is, I'm not trying to disagree with the overall premise.
Yeah.
But from a quality of contact perspective, the contact is actually just as good as it was last year. In fact, his hard hit rate, Anthony, this year is higher than it was last year. His barrel rate this year is higher than it was last year. His average exit velocity is basically the same. The problem is he is swinging and missing far more than ever. I think his whiff rate on off-speed pitches, Anthony, is over 50%. So I know what the quality of contact looks like, and you know, depending on where you look, the ground ball rate is either way worse or about the same as it has been for his career. But what's weird about Muncy is that the batted ball quality of contact, which I'm not saying tells the whole story, is actually better than last year when he was good.
Now, quality of contact, though, is giving us exit velocity. Is that correct?
Barrels per plate appearance, a percentage of balls hit over 95 miles an hour, and then average exit velocity are the three numbers that I just quoted.
And the one thing that is a little misleading with that is hard hit balls can be hit on the ground.
100%.
And
100%.
while the ground ball rate, you know, might hover around what it looked like, I think some of this last year was the soft contact was a lot more on the ground. And I think what we're seeing this year is some of that hard contact is on the ground and giving him no chance at the ball hitting the grass. You know what I mean? And so and the no home runs. Like he hasn't even accidentally run into one yet. And it's been a long time since he hit a ball that you even thought had a legitimate chance to find a gap, an alley, or get over the wall.
Yeah.
And because he's not hitting those balls in the air, it really is kind of amazing watching him at bat to at bat right now. Blake, our guy, Blake Williams, had a tweet earlier that said something about, like, you know, I'm misquoting him, but basically, like, who is the person who told this guy to completely change his approach and what had made him successful going into his age 34 season? And he's right. I mean, like, spending the offseason trying to hit the ball on the ground more. I mean, they wrote an entire book about launch angle and like how it's resurrected guys' careers. And this guy goes in the opposite direction for some reason after a good season. I'm there with the concern, because even though we can say some of those numbers are about where they were last year, we can say like the quality of contact, but the quality of at bat looks a lot different right now.
Totally. And to be clear, I'm not disagreeing. Again, I'm going to be patient on if I'm concerned with Muncy. I'm frustrated, right? This is where I'm differentiating between frustration and concern. I'm frustrated with it, but I'm patiently waiting and believing that at some point it's going to snap out of it. The reason for optimism is not that I disagree with everything you just said. It's some of the underlying metrics combined with an extended track record that includes last year of this guy being a very good hitter and saying, yes, I know he's getting up there, but I just find it, and maybe it's just me being stubborn, Anthony, and saying I find it hard to believe that the cliff comes this quickly and this steeply for a guy like Max Muncy.
I would normally agree with you. I would almost always agree with you. And if we did not know about what Muncy was doing over the winter, I would probably 100% agree with you. But now knowing what we know, I think things start to make a little more sense, and it really looks like it screwed him up.
And it's so interesting because I've said this before and I don't want to harp on it, but I would love to get like 5 minutes with Muncy and say, did you actually mean what you said out loud? Like, I know what the quote says. To Blake's point, I cannot believe that he actually meant he was trying to hit ground balls. Like, and I try and tell the best story, and I'm like, it has to be that he meant in his head he was thinking ground ball because that gets him on top of the ball and he would hit the ball, you know. But like what he said was, I was trying to hit ground balls. To me, I'm like, it can't possibly be what he meant to say, and yet that's what he said. So I don't know what to do with that.
And I think there is some of that, right, Jeff? Like, I think you're correct, because some of that interview was also him talking about line drives as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think there is some of that. And whether he meant to come into the season looking to hit the ball on the actual ground more or not, the fact is that when he was practicing, trying to get on top of the ball, his goal in those sessions was to hit the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
When it was just him and whoever was throwing BP to him. And so that has clearly seeped into his approach this season. And it looked like maybe he had found something, that he was having some better swings there. The quality of at-bats were looking better when it was around the time when he was talking about staying on his backside and being able to keep the bat on the plane that he needed to. And it just looked, and there was a 5-game span there. So when he looked like, okay, he's realized the error of his way, he's starting to look like he's turning a corner here, and then nosedived again. And so, like, watching him tonight, I'm a Max Muncy fan and I'm rooting for him. But it's very discouraging.
Yeah. It's interesting too. And Fangraphs and Savant, maybe it's just different ways that they track fly balls and ground balls. But last year was like a total extreme in how few ground balls he hit. It was 25%. His career average is 36.2%. He was a 25% ground ball guy last year, and he was a 75% in the air guy. This year, his ground ball rate is 32%. So it's actually, he's hitting the ball on the ground less than his career average. And again, the only reason I say this is not because I'm disagreeing, but with you that the eye test seems to be saying he's not hitting the ball hard and he's hitting it on the ground. And yet the numbers seem to be suggesting otherwise. Yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, he's chasing a lot more.
Yeah. And again, his whiff rate is the number that jumps out to me. He is swinging and missing at off-speed pitches 52% of the time when he swings at off-speed pitches. That's like 15 to 20% higher than his career average in that category. And so to me, that would be, it's 52.6% on changeups. He's swinging and missing this year. But again, all off-speed pitches, it's 52%. So it's ugly to me. So, and I guess the point I'm trying to make, if I could summarize it, is it seems to have less to do with what happens when he actually makes contact and far more to do with how much he is swinging and missing, how much more he is swinging and missing compared to previously. His career chase rate is 19%. It's at 22.4%. That would be the second highest mark of his career. So he's chasing more and he's swinging and missing more. Obviously those two numbers are connected, but it's a crazy situation for a guy in Muncy who normally this is his bread and butter. So
and I mean, some of that stuff, like you're saying, and you bring up really good points with this stuff, but the result, even with all that stuff, like, we're looking at the results as well, not just the eye test in terms 100%. Of what he looks like in the box, but like for this guy whose bread and butter is the power ball, to not just have none, but like it feels like he doesn't really even have a chance to do it at this point. To have zero through the first month plus of the season, that's disheartening.
He's got a slugging percentage lower than Austin Barnes right now, 236 slugging percentage for Max Muncy, which says it all. Don't care 187,
and it's not so much bad luck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the luck stuff for him right now isn't really. It's not super impactful in terms of like dragging his numbers down. I think coming into tonight, he was hitting over 300 in terms of BABIP, which is well above like sort of what he is normally.
302.
And early in the year stuff, so that'll probably normalize, but like it's not like he's hitting 107 mile an hour rockets into people's gloves.
Yeah, it's a good point. Don't care 187. Conforto and Muncy have stolen more money than Ippei stole from Ohtani. Couldn't get a hit off a position player. SMH. Hey, look, Kike Hernandez out there throwing scoreless innings too. But yeah, Conforto's been bad, man. I got nothing to say on that front. Matt with the super chat. Been mooching too long from a great show, Jeff for president, hashtag fellow Oregonian.
Nice.
We appreciate you, Matt. Thank you. Randy, do the Dodgers have too many players that are not pulling their weight on this team? They are in first place in the division, second best record in the league. So things are going well, but it is interesting, Anthony, with the success that they've had on a night like tonight. We'll get back to positive here in just a second, but there are a couple guys in Muncy and Conforto who are struggling mightily, and you could add to that list some of the guys that are coming off the bench. Kike Hernandez has not been great. Miguel Rojas has not been great. Austin Barnes has not been great. And so on one hand, they're winning. The results are that they're being successful, but it is surprising to have guys like Muncy and Conforto, who are sort of penciled in as everyday starters, struggling as mightily as they have.
Yeah, and I think the only guys really who we could say are quote unquote not pulling their weight are Muncy and Conforto at this point.
Yeah.
Mookie's been in a kind of an extended slump, but he's still he's not terrible. You kind of look at his numbers and they've been dragged down a bit lately, but he's still right around league average. And we expect him to go on a run at some point soon. And, he'll be Mookie Betts again.
Yeah.
I think from the offensive standpoint is like in terms of the regulars, it's those two guys. And then you got a bunch of bench guys. Like if you expect Kike to hit better, I got news for you. He was kind of this guy last year, and he's sort of made up for it with the home run total. Like he's got 5, which is kind of ridiculous for, probably for the number of plate appearances he has. So, but yeah, I mean, aside from those two guys, everyone else is fine.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Randy, we appreciate the super chats. Thanks for your support of this channel. Let's get back to this game really quick, Anthony. 15-2. The Dodgers score 15 runs on 18 hits. They also draw 8 walks. So you get 26 base runners in this. Our guy Matthew Moreno sent us a couple of stats tonight. This is only the second time the Dodgers have scored in double digits this season. They lost the first one. He also joked that because the Marlins jumped ahead to a 1-0 lead, this is their league-leading 12th comeback victory of the season. And then you sent me the Jack Harris tweet. The Dodgers didn't have 10 hits in any of their first 17 games. Since then, they have done it 9 of their last 13 and each of the last 4. Offensively, Max Muncy, unfortunately, the only guy to not, I guess Muncy and Conforto, both 0 for 4 with a walk apiece. The only two guys who didn't get hits in this one other than Chris Taylor, who came in late. But Ohtani 1 for 4 with the home run. Austin Barnes, a pinch hit off a position player. Mookie 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Kike 1 for 1. Freddie Freeman 2 for 2 with a pair of walks. Rojas 1 for 2 off the bench. Teoscar Hernandez 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs. Will Smith 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Edman 1 for 2 with 3 RBIs and a walk. Pages 3 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 RBIs. He got the home run off the position player himself. So what jumps out to you offensively? Like, where does your mind go first when you think of a game like this?
There was some hard hit balls against a really good pitcher. That's sort of where my focus was early on. They got some good barrel on the baseball early. And then for some guys, like some fist jobs and, kind of end of the bat sort of trademark base hits. That's when things are starting to turn around for you as a team, I think.
Yeah.
Mookie hit a ball really well tonight. He was the beneficiary of one of those sort of, barrels or overrated base hits. And then he also had one that was smoked. So I think for me, it was the fact that, even the mishit balls were falling, but more so like it seemed like more guys were consistently getting, finding the barrel and getting the sweet spot on the ball.
Yeah, Mookie getting the 2-run single and then launching a ball. I think it was like 104 miles an hour in his next at bat. I post on social media. Those are just the type of things I believe are going to get him going eventually. Yeah. The first one is not hit that hard. Maybe you could say it's a little bit of luck placing the ball where it's supposed to be placed. But to get that and then come back in your very next at bat and absolutely smoke a ball was encouraging. But you can't go too far without talking about Teoscar Hernandez and Andy Pages. Again, those two guys 7 for 10 with 6 RBIs in this game. We know they're connected off the field, but They have been carrying the Dodgers offense over the last week or so, and that did not change tonight, Anthony.
No, I mean, boy, those guys are they're
On a
white
heater.
hot. Both of those dudes, man. It's nice to see. It's nice to see Pies. I mean, it feels like it was just last week that we were talking about, like, when do we replace this guy?
Yeah.
It might have been last week we were having that conversation, even though
Yep.
he'd already started to turn that corner. So, yeah, he's gonna come back to earth at some point, we think, right? Like,
Yeah.
but even when that regression hits, I think he's found a different level of confidence. He looks right now more confident than he ever looked at any point last season, even when he was hitting the ball well last year.
Yeah.
And that's saying something, considering that he looked like he was visibly pressing in the box earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And so that's kudos to him for sort of turning that around, staying strong mentally. That cannot be easy, because that at some point you're playing on a pretty short leash. And to turn it around under those circumstances is pretty impressive. And I mean, he has caught absolute fire.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. He has, for the moment, totally solved that center field debate that everybody was having.
Offensively, at least. But even today, he had a nice throw.
When a guy's hitting like that, you live with the defense
100%.
that he's going to give you out there for sure.
100%.
Same with it's just like Teoscar.
Yeah, and to Teoscar, by the way, he struggled to start the year too, so he's kind of turned it around over the last couple of weeks. Let me give you a trivia question though. Here,
Oh, another thing, Jeff. Right before you do the trivia, we forgot Shohei first pitch, long ball. So nice to see him get back on the board too.
Which Dodgers player is second in on-base percentage on the team and second in slugging percentage on the team? Same player.
Andy?
Freddie Freeman. Nobody talks about this guy. Freddie Freeman has an on-base percentage over 400 and a 600 slugging percentage right now. Only Will Smith has a better on-base percentage than him, and only Teoscar Hernandez has a better slugging percentage than him. And I mean, literally nobody is talking about how good Freddie Freeman has been. His OPS over 1,000.
Incredible.
Yeah. 2 doubles tonight, 2 for 2 with 2 walks. So he reaches in 4 plate appearances tonight before Miguel Rojas gets to take his spot. But I mean, 308, 403, 600. It's like the ultimate Freddie Freeman slash line. And he's just doing it quietly. It's not a million home runs. It's classic Freddie. It's a bunch of doubles. It's a bunch of walks. It's just steady stuff. And again, like Will Smith having a great start to the season, I feel like we've pointed that out. Teoscar has been hot lately. Tommy Edman, obviously, with the power. And then there's Freddie, like I said, second best on base in the team, second best slug on the team. And, just right in the middle on a bum ankle.
What an incredible signing that ended up.
Yeah. My gosh.
I mean,
unbelievable.
wow. Like considering all the circumstances that led him to end up being on this roster. Amazing stuff there. And he's just, man, he's that guy. Like, he'll be there in the end. You know it.
Yeah. Consistency
he's
is not normal
right now.
Consistency is not normal in baseball. That's honestly Freddie Freeman's superpower is
For
consistency. Sure. There's no slumps with this guy. Like it's just, he'll go on the heaters, but there's just never like Freddie Freeman's 1 for his last 24. You just never hear that stat.
No.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But hey, shout out to you, Atlanta Braves, who got what? Matt Olson? Is that who they picked up instead?
Yeah. So, good for you.
I mean, it's good. It's good, but we appreciate you. Isaiah with the super chat. Conforto making decent contact. He's trying to pull way too much, leading to ground ball double plays. He needs to try to go oppo more. Dave had a quote the other day we talked about on Sunday night. Just feels like he's all in his head about this. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to make things too complicated. And again, I empathize with the guy. You're making good money. You're on a team with World Series aspirations, and you're really, really bad. You start to press a little bit.
And it's your first year with this team.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
New environment. They're probably tweaking his swing a little bit. So that's probably getting in his head a little bit as well, because he's not seeing immediate results. Everybody knows I'm the optimist. I'm be patient guy. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I look like an idiot. But I want to believe, and I still am believing, that he's going to figure this thing out. I'm not going to say he's going to go on to be, all-star level player necessarily, but I think he's going to put together a run that calms some folks down and cools the Jets, and nobody's going to look back on this signing and say it's a disaster. They might not say it was the greatest signing ever. It might be a 1-year deal that stays a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. But I just have to believe, to Isaiah's point, there is some decent underlying metric stuff for Conforto. I just have to believe at some point it's going to work out in his favor.
Yeah, I think so. I think he will end up, he'll have a month here where, he hits 350 or 360 with 4 home runs or something like that, and like it'll level him back out in terms of what the numbers look like. And then he'll find a way to be steady, at least in the role that he has. So I'm not too worried about him, because I think Isaiah's right. There are some balls that he's hitting well. Some of them are scorched one hoppers that turn into double plays, like he says. So yeah, I mean the level of concern with Conforto is nowhere near what it is with like a guy like Muncy right now.
Which is interesting because their stat lines are almost identical. But I think it just goes to show you maybe level of expectations being the difference between those two. Would you say, Anthony?
Yeah, totally. I think, again, the no home runs for Muncy is a massive concern.
It's crazy.
Because that is how he's made his name. That is what made him an all-star. It's what got him paid. It's why the Dodgers hung on to him. And they expected him to be a 30 home run kind of guy. And again, it's to have none at this point in the season, but also to like, it's not like in the last week he's had a couple pulled back by an outfielder or anything. Like, I mean, it's just it's not there, or that he scorched a couple off the wall. It's nothing like that. We're not seeing those sort of results. And so for him, it just feels different than it does for Conforto.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe he has now eclipsed his longest home run drought of his career. I was trying to find it. Shout out to True Blue LA for posting this, but 80 plate appearances was the longest that he had at any point in his career. He's at 100, and that's just this season. So obviously, I'm guessing he didn't homer in his last plate appearance of last year. So even if we're counting regular season or whatever, he is well past a career high as far as home run droughts go.
If he stays totally healthy and gets all of his plate appearances for a regular player, like he's on pace for like 5 home runs this season.
I mean, he's on pace for 0, Anthony. He's on pace for 0. You can't multiply 0 by 100 and get more than 0.
I stand corrected. If he hits one in his next at bat, he's on pace for like 5.
There you go. There you go. I was like, I don't know what kind of math they're doing over there, Anthony, but you can multiply 0 as many times as you want. I was just going to try and look. Oh, that's the postseason. I mean, the last home run he hit was on September 15th of last year. So if we're not counting postseason. So, I mean, he went 2 weeks to end last season with no home runs as well. He did hit 3 home runs in the postseason. So if we're just going strictly regular season stats here, I mean, I'm not going to add all these numbers up, but he's got to be over 150 plate appearances at this point without a home run dating back to last season. Adolfo, what helped Pages turn it around in your opinion? It sounds like the Dodgers are just saying it's a mental thing. Dave said there's some guys that are super mechanical and they need to think a lot and they need to focus. And he's like, I just don't think Andy's one of those guys. No surprise to anybody who's watched him play defense, but it's just sort of a vibes thing. Like, don't overthink it. Just get in there, see the ball, hit the ball. Some guys, it just comes naturally to them. And it sounds like they feel like that's Pages and that's part of the reason that he's found some success. Yeah,
it looks like, just like the eye test with him, it looks like he's letting it fly now. And obviously now he is, because this streak has been a little extended. But even when he started to turn it around, it just looked like he was letting the barrel fly, and he stopped sort of. It looked like he was squeezing the bat into dust early in the season, and now he looks a lot looser. Yeah, I'm with you. Luis says we should have tried Lux at third. Look, I don't. If you want to say we should have tried Lux at second base, fine. Obviously, that argument has died down because Pages has played so well. I did not want to see Gavin Lux playing a position on the left side of second base. So that's where my argument would end. Yeah. A lot of revisionist history too, because at this point last season, people wanted Lux DFA'd. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, again, even if you were pro Lux, which both of us were, third base was never going to be the spot for him. No. Richard says Conforto picks up his game checks wearing a ski mask. When is Pages bobblehead night? The top of the ninth looked like a beer league game. Yeah, it's funny when your team's winning, Anthony. I guess we're allowed to have fun in the ninth inning. Not that Richard was arguing against this, but everybody was mad when
this happened a few weeks ago because they were getting slaughtered. Here, Kike's throwing 37-mile-an-hour eephus pitches up there, throwing some nasty breaking stuff. Do you see the movement right to left on that slider? He got a couple strike calls with Anthony.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of getting my computer set up, but I had the bottom or the top of the ninth on the iPad, and I was going, what is he throwing up there? Like, that's not terrible stuff.
Not terrible. I know. I need to see the horizontal break in that one. We're gonna have to wait for Savant to break that one down for us. But shout out to Kike. What do you think? Pahay's bobblehead night? We got to at this point, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're drawing that up right now.
The problem is, what was it? There was the one they did with Miguel Vargas and James Outman on it together. I think it was. I mean, I guess that would have been 2 years ago that they did that one. And some of those age better than others. I guess we'll put it that way. I was trying to do math for you all on the fly here. I believe Max Muncy had 46 consecutive plate appearances to end last season without a home run. I believe he had 100 plate appearances coming into tonight, and then he had 5 more. So I believe he's at 151 plate appearances since his last regular season home run. Someone can stat check me on that one. But 151, again, according to True Blue LA, Eric Steven, his previous career high was 80. So he is nearly double that in a drought. David, how many innings for Tony Gonsolin tomorrow? Gonsolin expected to make his season debut tomorrow night. He has been built up slowly but surely. I thought he was going to debut a couple weeks ago, but they kept building up the pitch count, building up the innings total. So I think Gonsolin could get you 5 to 6, depending on pitch count, assuming things go well. But he's built up. Like, he may not be 110 pitches, but this is a guy that I would expect to get close to 90.
Yeah, I think 5 innings is sort of what my expectation is of it. I think that's totally reasonable, and like you said, he's built up, so it wouldn't be a stretch to get him there.
Yeah, I did want to read a few quotes that we have here. Tyler Glasnow was officially placed on the injured list yesterday, with, according to Dave Roberts, quote, overall body soreness was the explanation that we got. This was a quote from Fabian Ardaya's article. Glasnow did not go for an MRI on the shoulder. Glasnow had, quote, a lot of imaging, Roberts said Sunday. The Dodgers don't believe there's anything structurally wrong with the shoulder. Roberts said again on Monday, what is wrong with a 31-year-old right-hander and former All-Star is a much bigger mystery. So again, he did not go for an MRI on his shoulder. He has had, quote, a lot of imaging. They don't believe there's anything wrong with his shoulder, and yet it's a much bigger mystery. What the hell do you make out of all that, Anthony?
I have no idea. And it's starting to sound like they don't either.
Yeah. Is it possible? Let me throw a hypothetical out here. I think there's a world where you can read the words of Dave Roberts with immense frustration. And Dave Roberts is looking at Tyler Glasnow, and he's saying, his shoulder looks fine, guys. I don't know what to tell you. He says his shoulder hurts. We did some imaging. Imaging looks good. We're not even going to do more imaging on it. It's a mystery. I mean, there's a way you could read it like that, right? Where he's kind of looking at his guy and saying, what the hell?
That sounds like the frustration is with Tyler.
It's possible. And again, I'm projecting my own voice onto that. But I think there is a way to read this where Dave is saying there is no issue. It's mental. This guy can't get over it. And so we're basically giving him a reset. That is not what Dave is saying. I want to reiterate. But it feels like there's a world where that's what he's saying beneath the words he's actually saying.
Well, I'll tell you what, from what I had heard, and I was texting with someone, I heard this today. I was texting with somebody today, and somebody who would know, and they were saying that there was some like eye rolling during the Philadelphia start.
Okay. Internally
with him. And that was a start where he melted down because of the rain and the mud was in his cleats, and he didn't do anything to get it out, never called timeout, never asked for the mound to be fixed, all of that stuff. He just sort of pouted and kept throwing ball 4 after ball 4 after ball 4. And it got ugly for him. And the way he dealt with that, there was some internal frustration from what I was told. And then it was over, right?
Yeah.
And then, he came back and, he had pitched decently, and then the cramp thing, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's cramps, not much you can do. But then this arm thing now is like, it's based looking at what Dave said. It's just like, it feels like, dude, I mean, at some point you just got to get out there and throw the ball.
Yeah, totally. And look, if I want to be sympathetic, I joked with, I was texting with Greg Bergman and Marcus Grant of the Blue Review earlier today, and I said, I might zag on this and defend Glasnow because it feels like I would be the only person on planet Earth that is standing on his side of the equation on this. Like, I don't know a single person that's like, guys, we're maybe going a little bit too far. I guess Eric Karros says he's not concerned about Glasnow. He thinks it's just going to be a couple starts. But in all seriousness, like, if I want to try and give the benefit of the doubt to Glasnow, he's trying to do all sorts of mechanical changes that the Dodgers are giving him in order to hopefully protect his arm, protect his shoulder, protect his elbow, etc. And what he says is, it's stressing parts of my body that are probably not used to being stressed, right? That's the mechanical changes. You're taking the stress off of the elbow and the shoulder. The momentum, the force has got to go somewhere, whether it's your ankle or your knee or your toe or your hip or your back, whatever, right? So, like, if we're trying to tell the best story about Tyler Glasnow, it's that. I don't think I just convinced anybody who thinks he's soft that he's not soft with that explanation. But if you're trying to find one answer that kind of makes sense of all of this, overall body soreness, it's not necessarily the shoulder. The imaging looks good. We're not concerned about the shoulder. Then maybe it's, I mean, again, mental / spread out, I guess the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not making that excuse. I'm proposing it as a potential answer to the mystery that we're all staring down.
Yeah, and the body thing struck me weird when I first heard it, because it's like, let's assume you did not start doing this until you got to spring training.
Yeah.
Which would be surprising, because if you're making changes like he's talking about, you're probably doing that over the winter. But let's just benefit of the doubt, he did not start until they got to spring training in February. You've probably thrown very conservatively 2,000, 2,500 pitches with this sort of mechanical adjustment you're making. The muscles in your body should be used to those movements at this point. To where you're not sore because you've thrown a bullpen or something like that and you're exercising new muscles that you weren't exercising last year. Like, that just feels like, huh?
Yeah. Isaiah says, by the way, if Glasnow needs a massage, he knows a place. So there you go. We'll reach out, dodgers@gmail.com. I'm sure somebody will answer that one. Apes Against the Machine said, I had overall body soreness last year during the NLDS. Is that the same thing, guys? Yeah, look, I went for like a 2-mile run today. I've got overall body soreness too. Is the MRI, is that what you do, Anthony, when you feel sore after trying to do some push-ups and run a couple miles?
Yeah, there you go. Eat some cheese.
Mark Pryor, by the way, was asked about all the injuries and had a great quote, it's not a good quality of life for anybody. The Dodgers, prior to Gonsolin being activated tomorrow, have 8 starting pitchers and 5 relievers on the injured list right now. Obviously, a bunch of those guys were carryover injuries from last year, River Ryan, Gavin Stone, etc. But 13 pitchers on the injured list. There's going to be 12 tomorrow. That's the good news. 12 tomorrow, Anthony.
Yes. A welcomed addition.
Exactly. Let's go to some questions. As you start filling up the chat with questions, I want to circle back to Gonsolin. Give me just general expectations. We talked about number of innings. Are you expecting them to be effective innings? Like how high are you on Gonsolin and his ability to help this team, not just as an innings eater, but as a solid starter?
I expect him to be good. Yeah. This is not a rush job to get him back on the mound. It's the opposite of that. They've let him take as much time as he's needed. They have sort of handled him with kid gloves coming into this start tomorrow. There was a point last year, remember, where we thought like it was possible he might pitch. They shut that down and then said, no, we're going to let him take his time. And then, so you went from that to him not making his first start until a month into the season. So
Yeah.
like they have slow played this thing. He's built up enough to give him, I think, 5. So yeah, I mean, and he's facing the Marlins. It would not surprise me if he gave him 5 innings, 1 run.
Yeah. Be honest, by the way, my cousin is a Marlins fan, which is a terrible thing, right? He actually predicted 8 earned runs for Alcantara today. He got 7 with a guy left on first. So his hopes were not high.
He's not been very good there.
I looked at the Marlins lineup. I play fantasy baseball. So I have, like, I would say an above average knowledge of like league wide talent. I obviously do a show like this. So I'm watching a ton of baseball, paying attention, not just to like casually, right? There were not a ton of dudes I had heard of in this Marlins lineup tonight, Anthony. Xavier Edwards had heard of, was on my fantasy team last year. Dude's a stud. A. Ramirez, the catcher. He's A. Ramirez. I'm not sure which one, but he's one. D. Myers, not familiar with your game, sir. E. Wagaman. I feel like I knew that one just because I had seen the name before. Connor Norby, I was familiar with. O. Lopez playing second base. Jesus Sanchez, right field, had heard of him. R. Simon and J. Sanoha. I mean,
whose jersey you getting?
Yeah. Wagaman, obviously. Wagaman, come on. I mean, yeah, that's a lineup. So that's a soft landing spot. It's a soft landing spot for Gonsolin tomorrow, I guess is the good news.
For sure.
Apologies and all due respect, by the way, to the Marlins players and their families. Let's see. Some questions here. Okay. Sign stealing scandal. Is it sustainable for 1/3 of the lineup to be in contention for the worst defensive season of the last 2 decades of this franchise? Not a fan of, I mean, let's play this game and guess. Max Muncy at third, Teoscar Hernandez, wherever he is playing, Andy Pages in center field. I mean, I guess Conforto in left would be the other one. Like those 4, maybe the guys who are atrocious at their positions. Austin Barnes, if he's in the game.
Yeah, I think so.
Am I being unfair to any of those 4 guys, Anthony? Conforto, Teoscar, Pages, and Muncy?
I think Pages has made up for some of that with like the amazing catches he's made.
It's a great point. Or throws.
So like for as bad as he has been on some of the other tries, like from like an expected outs sort of value, like he's kind of made up for it with some of those balls that he's caught at the wall or over the wall. So, but he's bad. Let's not get this confused. He's bad. So yeah, I mean, I that's looking at the regulars. That's who I would say is you're right on with those names.
Who's the worst to you? Is it Muncy?
Teoscar's been pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. Both those guys, can say Muncy had 2 plays today where he couldn't get the ball out of his glove. I'm not sure on the first one if it would have mattered. But Teoscar, that ball, the first ball hit. It's like, come on, buddy. Like, it's your home stadium. Like, it's one thing if the other guy doesn't know how to read the carom. It's like, the wall's coming. Both those guys. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Muncy, and Muncy was never a great third baseman, but he was serviceable. He's just been a butcher this year.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. Dodgers Hub. Question, very unlikely, but if Conforto is really this bad past the All-Star break, would there come a point where they trade or DFA him? Shout out to Sauer for saving the pen, and Kike pitching was hilarious. I doubt they would be able to trade him, but this team's serious about winning. And I think they would DFA him. Like, I think there's a world where if this continues, again, the question is past the All-Star break, I think they would absolutely DFA him. You don't have to worry about the impact on the clubhouse because he's not a guy who's been there a long time before. There's no long-term money because it's a 1-year deal. And if he's playing at the level he's playing at now, it's not sustainable.
No, and if he's playing at the level he's playing at now, the All-Star break seems like a huge runway.
Yeah, that's a runway and a half.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like early to mid June that conversation is happening. If he's doing what if the numbers don't look any better than they look right now, it's I think you're looking at a June decision on that.
PMR. Remember when everyone wanted to send Andy Pages to the moon? Yes, we do, and it's why again I'm being patient with Conforto and Muncy. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Derek asked, does Page's emergence mean Ha-Seong Kim stays in AAA for most of the season? Obviously, we can't predict injuries, but I kind of think the Dodgers' plan was to keep him in AAA for the entire season anyways.
Yeah.
The fact that they now have a competent player at the major league level only makes that easier. So to me, this is an easy yes. I still am convinced that he's not second and he might not be third. Like, he might not be first or second on the list of guys from AAA that get called up if the Dodgers need help. I think Alex Freeland and James Outman would both be ahead of him if we were still talking second base, center field help. Obviously, Dalton Rushing would be in the mix depending on other positions. But I think Ha-Seong Kim is almost assuredly going to be spending the entire year at AAA. You agree?
I agree. And I've been somebody who's advocated for certain situations that, I think it could be him. But I think that, and that's just me personally, I think the team's standpoint on this, stance on this is that they're going to keep him in Oklahoma City essentially for the whole season. Maybe he'll be a September guy. But I think their preference is to keep him down kind of no matter what happens, unless it's a desperate situation with like injuries or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to back wants to know, why is being a Kings fan so miserable? Why is being a Lakers fan so miserable would be the other question here, Anthony. Everything, at least the Dodgers one, right?
Still champs.
Still champs. Still champs. Absolutely. Let's see. Wants to know, what is the pitching rotation as of now? Does having 2 Japanese pitchers in a rotation who can only go once a week sustainable? Yamamoto is an ace. This is a conversation that the Dodgers are starting to have because they asked Dave, and he basically said, they asked, I think, about a 6-man rotation. He goes, we don't have 6 starters right now. I think he was joking. But I actually, with 10 games in 10 days, Anthony, you, me, Matt were talking about this because I was joking about how I'm going to the Arizona series at the end of next week. And depending on how things shake out, I was like, damn, I might get to see Yamamoto and Sasaki. And you guys were like, well, no, Yamamoto pitches on Fridays and Sasaki pitches on Saturdays. Well, the Dodgers have 10 games in 10 days. So unless they're planning on going to a 7-man rotation, these guys are going to have to pitch every 6 days with only 5 days off, which is less than they've been getting. So how do you think the Dodgers play this one out?
Yeah, assuming guys go on the IL, I think they'll still have enough serviceable pitchers. Like Landon Knack is probably a guy who's going to be called, like, that kind of stuff. If they get desperate, Bobby Miller possibly. Basically, what I'm saying is they have enough breathing bodies that they can fill a starting rotation of 6 guys still.
Yeah.
The 10 games in 10 days sort of changes the math on all of this, because I think throughout the entire month of April, they had every Thursday off, I think, which is why they were able to set up every weekend with Yamamoto, Sasaki, Friday, Saturday. That's about to change, I think. But yeah, I mean, to answer the question, it is sustainable. They're either going to have to get a little more creative than they've had to in April, or they may try to, and this is doubtful, but they may try to say, okay, Yamamoto is going to go a couple of times on what we would call normal rest.
Yeah.
But that to me seems doubtful. I think they're going to try to do everything they can to make sure those guys stay on their schedule.
So for you right now, obviously you've got Yamamoto, Sasaki, May, and Gonsolin are the 4 guys who are upright. Clayton Kershaw not due back for another 2.5 weeks, May 17th range. Kasperius, there has been reports, Fabi Nardaya kind of hinted that that's the guy as expected, that they might stretch out a little bit. Would Landon Knack be 6th for you and you just go to a 6-man rotation? And I know these guys are used to pitching once every 7 days, but welcome to the big leagues. We're going to ask you to do once every 6 days for a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's where my brain goes first.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's hope you're right, because that would mean Yamamoto Friday against the Braves and then Thursday against the Diamondbacks for me, and Sasaki going Saturday and Friday. So we'll cross our fingers and hope on that one. Let's see. David wants to know, did you know it was National Shrimp Scampi Day, and did we have some? No shrimp scampi for me. You shrimp scampi guy, Anthony?
I like shrimp scampi. I did not know it was the national day of it. Maybe I'll celebrate this weekend.
I like shrimp. Do you ever order it from a restaurant, or are you just making it yourself?
I do both.
Okay. It just, I mean, I can't ever imagine myself ordering it. Again, I enjoy it. I find it hard to believe that would be the thing I look at and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want.
I get it like with pasta. So
There you
like,
go. Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Derek wants to know, is Mookie Betts on track to be the shortstop we want him to be? Defensively.
Yes.
If you believe he's going to get better than the guy that we've seen because he's a month in to an experiment that he's only going to get more reps as time goes forward, I don't know how you could be anything short of, at the bare minimum, like neutral on what we've seen from Mookie Betts. There's no way to be disappointed. I would argue you should probably be more than neutral. You should be encouraged and positive about it. So in my estimation, more than I'm impressed. He is further ahead of schedule defensively at shortstop than I would have expected, Anthony.
Yeah, I would agree. He has been better than that bare minimum expectation of like a neutral sort of feeling on it. I agree with that for sure. He's going to get better. This guy has built a reputation on being like a workhorse kind of guy. And he's certainly put in the work at that position. And I think he's going to continue to get better at it. He's looked quite serviceable as a big league shortstop. Like for us, the balls that he misplays are going to have a much brighter light on him because this is the experiment. And, some people didn't want him there and all of that stuff. So any misplay that he has is gonna be under the microscope for some fans. Yeah. But if we're being fair, he's made some plays in the hole that he would not have made last year.
Yeah. Look, defensive metrics suck unless they prove the point that you want them to prove, and then they're totally accurate. Mookie Betts is 93rd percentile in range, outs above average right now. So as much as I think all defensive metrics are stupid, because I want to argue in favor of Mookie Betts, I want to remind you that he's been very good this year, according to the defensive metrics.
Let's put down and talk about like his focus on playing shortstop has hindered his offensive ability. Like Mookie Betts goes into slumps. We've seen it for 6 years or however long he's been here, 5 seasons. And he started off the season like hitting the ball fairly well. So not worried about that at all. I think that this is kind of Mookie, and then when we see him get hot, he's going to get like Andy Pajes kind of hot.
Yeah. Padmeep says, which series coming up are you expecting hype around? D-backs or Mets? The Mets are a little ways away, end of May, 23rd, 24th, 25th. But coming up, the Dodgers, again, another Thursday off, and then 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Miami, 4 in Arizona. So a 10-game road trip. The Arizona series, I mean, aside from the Rockies, who are 4-25, by the way. But aside from them, the Diamondbacks will be the first divisional opponent that the Dodgers will get to face. Again, it's lining up like it might be Yamamoto and Sasaki in those first 2 games. So which would be exciting, but it has to be Arizona. They play Arizona twice before they play the Mets. The Mets are just got power ranked the number 1 team in Major League Baseball. They have a better record than the Dodgers. So that series is going to be monumental, but I'm not overlooking the 2 series against Arizona because I think the Diamondbacks are still going to be very, very good this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously those series are going to be more meaningful. The national hype will be around the Mets series because of the 2 best records, assuming at that point, the payroll, you're going to see stories about these 2 payrolls and all of, the Soto contract, the Ohtani contract, all of this stuff. So on a national level, that'll be the talk of the town. But I think for us, for the everyday folks, the D-back series is going to be what we're focused on more probably.
Yeah. John says, which Dodgers jersey will Jeff be wearing in Arizona? So I'm going to 2 games. Do I go with, I think the favorite in the clubhouse is I've got the Mookie Betts gold rim 2020 World Series champs jersey, which is nice. I've got the gray Freddie Freeman with the 2024 World Series patch on it jersey. But then my personal favorite, Anthony, is the Eric Gagne jersey from my childhood. That's still, I can still squeeze into that bad boy. So it's always tough because I want to go Gagne. You get some good looks, some nice comments with the Gagne jersey, but I think it might be Mookie and Freddie. Is that the move, or do I bring Gagne along?
First games of the season for you?
First games of the season for me.
I think I go Mookie, Freddie.
Okay, Mookie and Freddie. And it's, as Hawaiian Kira points out, the gray Freddie Freeman. We got the road jersey going on. So, yeah, I feel it. I feel it. All right, last question here. Then we'll get out of here. We got a food one. Dong says, Jeff, did you get a chance to see the LA Times article ranking breakfast burritos published yesterday? I have not gotten a chance to see it. Unfortunately, as a non-Los Angeles liver any longer, this list would not be super helpful for me. But I do think the breakfast burrito is like the greatest food item ever. So I almost don't know if I want to read it because I all these pictures are going to make me hungry. It does say I just found it. It says Pasadena is the best place for breakfast burritos. So there you go. Oh, here we go. Lucky Boy Burgers has one, Anthony. It's got avocado in the midst of it. So that's, I'm not against it. That's a thing that's happening though. Chile Verde burrito from BBAD in Pasadena. Sorry if I was supposed to say what those things are. Doghouse. Oh, here we go. A bacon sausage chimichanga. So you got a deep fried scenario there.
That's a way to start your day.
Yeah, it almost looks like there might be some sort of sauce. I can't tell if that's like a little gravy or something we got dripping out of this bad boy. Here we go. Miso infused ranch dressing in the middle of that chimichanga, Anthony. Ranch dressing in a breakfast burrito? Any issues?
I'm gonna pass on the ranch. But they are it sounds like they're ranking like foodie type of breakfast.
Yeah, it looks bougie. Give me Anthony. Give me Anthony Witrado. You're crafting the perfect breakfast burrito. You could, if you're a potatoes guy, you could throw any kind of potato in there, the meat of your choice, etc.
Yeah.
Make me the perfect breakfast burrito, Anthony.
I like a little all-in-one, which for me is bacon,
okay,
sausage.
Oh, we're going multiple meats. Okay, I like
multiple
this.
Meats, yeah. Typically bacon and sausage. There's a place I know that'll throw in a little ham in there too.
We doing white person sausage or chorizo here?
Spicy, but it's not chorizo.
Okay.
But
a hot Jimmy Dean's or something.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the chorizo burrito, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do multiple meats. I'll do the potatoes.
What kind of potatoes we doing? We doing shredded hash browns? We doing like diced up red potatoes?
Typically some diced up potatoes.
Okay.
And then, but hash browns are good too. I'm an equal opportunity person there. I like cheese in the breakfast burrito. And then I'm
blue cheese, obviously, right?
What's that?
Blue cheese, obviously, in your breakfast burrito.
And then I am typically like a couple of different kinds of salsa.
Okay.
One where I'm tasting it a little bit more, and then one that's going to be a little fire.
Okay.
That's kind of me. It's kind of my go-to when I'm making it.
I rarely dabble in the mixed meats situation. So I'm either going bacon or chorizo, but lately I've been a chorizo guy. So we'll say chorizo, obviously some scrambled eggs.
Yes.
My go-to of late has been, I buy like the McDonald's style hash brown patties, get that thing nice and crisped up in the air fryer and just split that thing in half and shove it in a tortilla. Fantastic. Some cheese. I'd go pico de gallo if it were me. And then either a salsa verde is my go-to, but if a place has a good avocado salsa that I can throw all over the top of that thing, that would be my move. So
me, I have an unpopular food opinion that avocado is just like meh. Like I'm pretty indifferent about it. Avocado salsa though is one of my favorites.
You like guacamole though?
Not really.
Wow. Okay, so you like avocado salsa. That's the only version of avocado that you're interested in.
It's the only one that I'm like passionate about.
Okay.
Like pretty much everything else to me is like, it's fine, whatever. If it's not on it, like I'm not missing it.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like if you go to Mexico, like there's no guacamole. They're not serving you guacamole.
They're not putting cheese on those burritos or those street tacos either, Anthony. You know?
No, they're not. I don't get cheese on my street tacos though.
See, that's what I'm saying. People hate, but that's all I'm saying. Yeah, there you go. You reminded people about your avocado.
Yes, I did.
Yes, but multiple meats on a pizza. I'm okay with.
What's that?
Somebody was asking, it's like, do you just not have two meats together in any scenario? It's only pizza, or excuse me, it's only on tacos and burritos and that kind of a thing. Like, even if it's like, I don't want chicken and steak, just pick one,
So you won't get like mixed fajitas or something like that?
No, it's just give me chicken fajitas or steak fajitas. That's just my
That's
preference.
definitely worse than my avocado opinion.
But I mean, like, do you have do you think carne asada is better than chicken?
I think they serve different purposes.
Okay, see, you answered that correctly because you knew where I was going. If one of those is better than the other, then you just go for that one.
Sure,
I'd
sure.
go steak personally, but my wife likes chicken, so if we're splitting fajitas or something, it's just all chicken. That's fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But to close out the avocado stuff for me, avocado salsa is like a steady in my pantry or refrigerator.
My favorite like breakfast burrito place was actually the spot that introduced me to avocado salsa, and I went there for like 6 months before ever realizing they had it. And it was because you had to ask for it. They're like, do you want green or red? And I'm like, all green all the time.
It's expensive.
Well, and then they're not charging you for it, but it's just off to the side. You got to ask, can I please actually have the avocado salsa? And they're like, we got you. So it's I've never found a store-bought one that I actually like is the problem. It's like ranch dressing. You go to any restaurant, they have the greatest ranch dressing of all time. You go to any grocery store and it's the worst ranch dressing that the world has ever created. That's my avocado salsa experience too. Every Mexican place I go to, great tasting avocado salsa. I go to the grocery store, all the stuff in cans or bottles or whatever, no good. So I don't know.
Yeah, I see some people with some like I need to defend this avocado take. Like,
okay,
you're talking about guacamole. Like, from my experience, the best guacamole is like you're putting the seasoning and like all of that stuff is in there. The avocado ceases to become the star of the dish for me. And
folks, next time you think about making fun of me for my cheese take, which is misinterpreted, I just want you to remember Anthony's guacamole, what you're hearing him say about guacamole right now. Okay?
It's also not even Mexican food. Like, guacamole is not like, you can't go to Mexico and order guacamole. Like, they're not going to make it for you. They're like, we have avocado. You want that? Like, no, they're not making it on the side of the table for you. Like, my family, like, we go every year. My family is from Leon, Guanajuato, Irapuato, like deep central Mexico. They're not serving anybody guacamole in those places.
And they're not putting cheese anywhere near their tacos and burritos.
It's guacamole is right up there with queso dip.
Hey, delicious, and inauthentic. It's in the orange chicken bucket of cultural foods, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, like someone said, it's the panda. It's the Panda Express of Chinese food.
Yeah, dang right. And you know what? Guacamole's delicious, queso's delicious, and orange chicken's delicious. So it's all right.
I'll dip some chips in some queso dip. I'm not mad about that.
Oh, yeah. Good queso, like Southwest queso. Great.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll eat ballpark nacho cheese, so the bar is super low for me in this category. But we'll do just about anything. So, folks, that'll do it for us tonight. The Dodgers win by 1 million. Kike Hernandez shut the game down. Everybody got a hit except for Max Muncy and Michael Conforto. And Matt Sauer is officially, I don't know, a pitcher on the Dodgers who won't be here tomorrow. So Tony Gonsolin on the bump tomorrow. Greg Bergman and I will be here on Thursday. No game on Thursday, but we'll still have a good show for you Thursday night. And then Anthony and I will be back on Sunday night as well. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Almost 1,500 people. If you're new, subscribe, ring the notification bell here on YouTube. Check out the podcast, Apple, Spotify, and Google. Search for Dodger Heads. Rate, review. That would do us a huge favor. We would be greatly appreciative of that. That is Anthony Witrado. I am Jeff Spiegel. Folks, enjoy the rest of your night. And yes, go Dodgers. Still champs.